Good morning. Welcome.
Afternoon, actually.
Oh, well, afternoon. I'm sorry. This is, I don't even know if it's important for us to say a date. Anyway, we're back. Brand new episode, The Doorman. We are your guys, evangelists,
Steven in the building.
as always. Back after another,
Hiatus.
hiatus. It's a little rough.
Yeah.
Right. It's a little rough to get our schedules. We told you guys time and again, but when we do, we bring you quality material, and that's all that I'm concerned with.
Correct.
So what makes what we do quality? We don't. Maybe it started off, but we don't always try to stick with some trendy topics, or we don't try to get you with clickbait. We try to get you with our thought processes and the importance of the key, just key factors, key subject matter of what these thought processes consist of. And
Some would say life hacks, maybe?
Life hacks? I mean, I guess you can, because, we bring you a piece of everything, right?
Right.
Because we believe that the truth isn't focused, it's not dialed in one area.
We allow these truths to be self-evident.
Absolutely. Preach it, brother. Right? Everyone has a piece of the truth, and if you listen close enough, as people speak, as people express themselves, as people reveal themselves to the world, you can find a little piece of wisdom everywhere you look.
Right.
And you may think that, if I key in on, let's say, Christianity, I'm gonna find the absolute truth. Or if I key in on the religion of Islam, I might find the truth. Or if I key in on Buddhism, I'm going to find the truth. Or if I key in on any of the these new trends, the woke movement, or the different ideology that's being brought up now. I'm going to find the truth. You're not. You're not going to find the truth. You're not going to find the total truth in any one of those ideas, especially the way human beings express those ideas, because human beings are absolutely flawed. But if you listen close enough to everyone as they speak, you're going to find pieces of the puzzle, and you're going to be able to piece them all together to find the truth, right? Because there's no one truth and then someone else has another truth. There's a truth across the board, and if you seek it, there's a piece of wisdom in the Bible, and it says, "Seek and ye shall find." Right? If truth is what you're truly after, and you truly look to seek it, meaning you spend your time in prayer and meditation, if you again bother opening yourself up to people, right? Because I think we've said it before, we're conduits. We're nothing but physical conduits, and there's a spirit or an energy that flows within us all, and we're all going to express this energy in different ways. Anyway, you listen to enough of it, you're going to gather the truth, and then so me and Steven are looking to give you what we have,
The truth givers.
So Steven, is there any news, any recent activity in your life that might break open pieces of the truth for our listeners?
Well, there has been an addition to my household.
Well, tell us about it.
Shelby and her 3 children.
Awesome.
Addie, Asen, and Adam.
Wow.
We are one big happy family.
Beautiful children, by the way. Absolutely, gifts and blessings.
Yes.
To the world.
One big happy family. And she's been engulfed in the Langford family tradition of welcome.
We definitely engulf and envelop
Yes.
anyone that comes our way.
And I think it's going fantastic.
Absolutely, man. I mean, see, listeners, we bring this like outer layer, and you know, you can judge this outer layer for what you see it, however it is you see it. But you know, most people when they see the two of us, they think of these hardened, you know, maybe prior warlike, warmongers, violent men.
Violence. What's the word I'm looking for? Violence. Accentuating. Violence. Activists.
But in truth, behind this facade, I don't know. I hate to use the word facade because facade could be a fake front. But behind this exterior, that's what we'll say.
There we go.
Behind this hardened exterior, the two of us, we are absolutely loving men. And what Stephen brings to the lives of these children is, I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing because for first off, for any man to show true love to children who are not of his own biology, loins. It's a special. It takes a special person, an absolute special person to open up his heart. I mean, and to look to protect and shelter and you know, provide resource and you know, all of these gifts that you know are usually reserved for children that come from you. He's been able to open up to these children of a woman that he loves, and Shelby being as awesome as she is, and shown him everything that a woman should, right? He's opened up his heart to these children, and it's fucking amazing. It's amazing to see. It's amazing to witness. Mm-hmm. I mean, it truly is, right? Because they in turn open up themselves to receiving this. And it's a beautiful thing, man. So I mean, again, you see us and you think, oh, these animals, savages, meatheads, right? But in reality, we
can.
I have
be.
my moments.
We can be. That's for sure.
I definitely have my meathead moments and animal and savage moments, but you know, there's a heart in there. There's love. There's you know.
I think everybody has, I think everybody has the ability to be animalistic.
Mm-hmm.
Savage, as you say.
Yeah.
But very few people can turn it on and off. You're very good at turning it on and off. I'm a work in progress on turning it off because mine apparently has been on full speed since about
all the time.
age 20.
It's like one of those leaking faucets.
Yeah.
Just splurging.
I need a new O-ring. That's for sure.
Gasket replacement.
Gasket replacement.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say it's an easy fix, right? Because you have to be exposed to multiple modes.
Right.
Modes of operation, and I've seen many modes of operation. So, you know, my culture, I'm a Samoan, and so my parents, they come in Samoa. The culture of you know, spanking children that comes from a biblical verse: spare the child, spare the rod, spoil the child. My mother took that, and a lot of Samoan parents, they take that to a high level, to the next degree almost, right? In that, I mean, the spankings are frequent, and the spankings usually were violent, especially in our days. Like in the 90s, we used to sit around comparing how savage our beatings were. That's, you know, that was a common practice for us to sit around. Hey man, I got beat with the water hose. Oh yeah, I got beat with the broomstick.
I got shot.
Yeah, you know, and it was just a back and forth of kind of like a comparison of how we were dealt with by our parents. And and it's not to say anything negative about them, because what it taught us was it taught us an absolute respect for authority. We respected authority. Were there downsides? Can we ask the question? Were there downsides to it? Absolutely. Because as an educator, I would see children who were raised in the way that I was raised, and I would see this timid behavior. They would come in. These guys weren't naturally outgoing. They weren't naturally overt in their behaviors. They were super reserved kids. It took a while. It took a lot to get them to open up. It took them a lot to express themselves verbally. So there was a downside to it, but the upside was very respectful. We understood the limitations, right? We understood our place in the hierarchy. So there was a give and take, but our parents truly took that and practiced it to the nth degree. So I look back on it now, being an educator. God put me in the right places in order for me to see the up and downside. So I was able to turn things around. Am I super outgoing? I wouldn't say I'm super outgoing, but I'm friendly enough. I do enough in order to do what I need.
Yeah.
Steven, absolutely outgoing dude. Thank you, Frank. You molded a great man here. But
my mom too had a lot to do with it.
Thank you, Margaret. Awesome job. So we introduced the idea that he gave you the report. He's taking in children. I'm absolutely fascinated by the relationship he's had with these kids, these beautiful kids. Adam, his mini-me, his twin. I had the opportunity this week, and I'm only going to talk about this week because it's been 2 weeks since we've recorded, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But this week I had the opportunity to celebrate. So in the Samoan culture, after a year has passed from the death date of a valued family member, we have a celebration. We just celebrated one of those this past Thursday. An icon of our family passed a year ago. Just a truly remarkable person. He's got a very, you talk about the Carson streets. This man has imprinted his name and his legacy on these Carson streets. We celebrated his 1 year of passing this past Thursday. Got a chance to gather with a bunch of family members. It was an awesome time. We had a great time, man. I spent some time, I call it my era of playing on the streets. So, I got a chance to hang out with it was a hood function. A lot of my niggas came out, everybody, the big homies, yeah. So it's funny, like you hear me speak on the podcast, and then you hear me speak at these functions, and I don't want to say it's too different, but
no, it's reserved and wide open amongst people who because you're not wide open with strangers.
No.
Most people aren't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was part of a Langford family function yesterday.
Awesome.
Your granddaughter's first birthday party.
Yep.
And one thing I will say, there are a lot of things in this world that are good and make you feel good, but there are few things in this world that compare to that mac and cheese.
We've told you before, man. My wife and I have come up with this mac and cheese recipe that is unparalleled.
Yeah.
Unmatched.
It's to the point where I would contemplate tipping over an old woman in a wheelchair for a spoonful.
To get the last spoon.
Yes.
Right. she's wheeling herself over there.
I was
Seeing
like, no,
that
no.
last bite, and
Nah,
Steven
lady,
is over there like, bro.
You've wheeled your last moment.
Sweet chin music.
You've had enough.
She's gotten a foot from it, and then the Shawn Michaels Sweet Chin music comes.
Or I'll just say,
plays.
excuse me, ma'am. Your wheel seems loose and I put the brake on. She can't go
Oh, shit. Look, we take pride in this recipe, y'all. I mean,
It's fantastic.
2007 was when my wife began this journey of the mac and cheese, and we've perfected it. We've got an actual recipe now. So, yeah, great time. Hey, you know what? We had speaking of this week, like Steven said, we celebrated my granddaughter's first birthday. So it's my second granddaughter, and it was just an awesome time. Not a super big gathering like a lot of our gatherings are. My daughter just wanted a real intimate something. She didn't want to go big, so it was just a fun. It brought back memories of our smaller, intimate gatherings and how fun they could be. That was it. It was a awesome time. And then we got a chance to bring Shelby into the fold. Bro, we brought her into the fold.
She was into the fold last weekend, I believe.
Yeah. But
and then
when you've been Karenized again at a much more intense level where you're 6 shots deep
of Jameson.
Of Jameson and then 6 beers deep. It's like, wow. Yeah. It's
you've made it.
You've made it
when you're drinking,
and then you made it home.
Yeah.
Kudos. She passed the test.
Yep.
Right. Layers to this shit. Well, anyways, we've brought to you all of our news. We just got to get into the meat.
Yep.
There's a few little. We've spoke before on the subject of humility, and I think we just need to revisit just components, because the idea of humility is so important. As Steven and I, as we talk, right? A lot of times it sounds like we're complaining. A lot of times it sounds like we're talking shit about all the things that we see in this world, right? And then often in our expression, in our verbalizing what we see, often you can hear a lack of humility in the both of us. And then what that comes from, where that humility comes, the lack of humility comes from, is the idea that we have all the answers, and the way that we're doing things may be so perfect that we have we're in this position to pass judgment on what it is we see, right? When in reality, we're just two flawed men. We're two flawed men. We've got plenty of faults of our own. I can think back, because I'm such a self-reflector. I think back of even things, recent times, where I've practiced very idiotic behaviors, especially when I'm drinking. We love to party, so I work hard. Monday through Friday, I work hard. I work out hard. So when we have the opportunity to celebrate, we celebrate. We let the hair down, whatever's left. Mustache hairs.
Eyebrows.
No, nose hairs. We just let our hair down. And then, the drinking comes out, and then all of our inhibitions are gone, and then we just do idiotic things. So I'd hate for that lack of humility to be the blaring thing that you as Dorman watchers see. I don't want to claim perfection. I don't want to, but in some way, I would like all of my speech to be directed towards perfection. I mean, I want for my life to somehow reflect it, but it doesn't. In truth, I'm flawed. In truth, my brother here is flawed. but we would like to direct ourselves towards the perfection.
Well, it's funny you brought up, you used to get spanked as a child, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a form of humility as a child that you learn. You don't really understand it. You just don't want it to happen again, and you definitely don't want to repeat the behavior that's going to cause that to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I was younger, I didn't get spanked a lot. I think maybe 2 or 3 times, maybe. But it was enough. The fear was enough, right, to not get your ass beat or do something wrong, or, that fear to prevent you from making a decision that could get you in trouble was what guided me through my childhood, I think. Because I always, it's a joke, but if I ever got arrested when I was younger, it would have been safer for me to go to jail than to go home. And it wasn't necessarily like the beating I was going to take. It was the sense of disappointment or letdown that my family would see, that I didn't want to see. I would have rather, again, in my head as a teenager, would have rather faced 5 guys with shivs in a jail cell than go home to deal with the disappointed look of anybody in my family. And there were examples in my life growing up, good examples, my Uncle Mark, my Uncle Steve, my grandpa. Those were examples of what to be, right? Like, you want to be like these guys, you want to be like these ones over here that have been in and out of jail and trouble and this. So I think that is a sense of humility, right? Maybe not complete humility, but a sense of it where you are, I guess, humble enough to realize that you are flawed, right? You're not perfect, and you want to make decisions that's going to give you the best opportunities to be the best you can be going forward. And some people never ever reach that conclusion, or they do and it's way too late, and they're 3 strikers or whatever.
As you just shared that bit right there, I'm thinking, I reflect on my stupidity, right?
Right.
I'm reflecting on the idea that I did not have any of that in my mind. Like you said, you had maybe 2 or 3 ass whoopings. I can't even count. I have had countless ass whoopings in my lifetime. Right? From my parents. My dad, I can count on 2 hands. My mother, she was the law giver, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't say that to badmouth anyone. As a matter of fact, I deserved every single one of those ass whoopings. What I reflect on is my own stupidity, because I too would have rather went to jail. As a matter of fact, I was picked up twice, once on a street corner, and once at a park while doing stupid things. And I told those cops that I'm going with them, Carson sheriffs. 2 separate occasions, I chose to go with them instead of go home. But even in that fear of these ass whoopings that I knew were coming, my stupidity, my lack of impulse control, lack of urge control, I was out there doing whatever the fuck I wanted to do.
Right.
Because that was more appealing to me.
Right.
My own impulses, they were much more impactful to me, right, at the time, in the moment. Because I'm in the moment, I was in the moment guy. I'm in the moment guy now. But, with much more, a disciplined
decision making.
Yeah, right. Around it, right? But back then, I had 0 control over impulses, 0 control over urges, and to a fault. Yeah. To the point where I just whatever urge was on my mind, whatever was prevalent at the moment, I did it. I did it. And then so what I was fascinated with as a child, I had these 5 cousins. And these 5 cousins were in and out of prison all my life. But those were I looked up to them to the point where those were my heroes. As a matter of fact, one of the cousins, he was the family member that we just celebrated the 1 year. He was the best of those 5, the very best, meaning that he showed a lot of like real man qualities, right? Then till now, right?
I meant like in what you thought then, right?
Back then there was another one that was in my mind dominated, but he showed the stupidest behaviors. He showed the behaviors that would I thought were cool then, right? Like quick to anger, quick to kill, and that's what I admired.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's the same thing. I mean, I didn't have like that much of an aggressive example, but it were things that happened that my mom and my grandparents and my other aunts and uncles would say, like, I mean, do you want this to happen? Like, that was the biggest thing. Like, my grandpa used to tell me, you need to graduate high school because you don't want to work at McDonald's. And they know me that I wouldn't work at McDonald's. I just wouldn't, can't do it. So, in that example, like, you need to graduate high school, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to get where you want to be so you can have whatever you want when you get older. And then when you're 16 years old and you think that you're invincible, right? When you're 16, you never ever think you'll be 42. Right? It's just such a long way away.
Man, I didn't think I was going to be 30.
Yep. And then you get, you pass 16, then next thing you know, you're 22, then you're 30, and then you're 42, and then that's when you look back at, like, and some people see it earlier, some people don't. But I knew at a very young age that I didn't want to be like certain examples in my life. I wanted to be like my grandpa, my Uncle Steve, my Uncle Mark, those guys who just worked their asses off, did the best that they could, good examples of what it's like to be a good male role model. And my mom too. My mom busted her ass too. And she was a single mom, so I mean, I saw what it was to overwork, and I saw what it was to put in the work. So
I mean, it just sounds like you've had great examples growing up.
All around.
And it sounded like you keyed in on the right examples, right?
Right.
I had great examples growing up. My dad was an awesome provider. My dad provided, and that was his main goal. I'm gonna be the man to provide. All of the financial burdens are gonna be put on these shoulders, and he did. My guy just went balls to the wall. He had multiple incomes coming in monthly, and it was just, I mean, we never wanted for anything, right?
Same.
Early on in my childhood, he was funding multiple families. He was the rock behind his parents' home, and then providing for myself and my mother, and then eventually my siblings. So my dad, like, he umbrellaed. He was the umbrella provider for multiple families, and so because that was the case, maybe my mom didn't have as much as she wanted at that when I was so young, so there was she wanted more, right? And then so eventually we separated so that he could just focus on my mom and ourselves. But my dad was such an awesome provider that multiple families were able to take advantage of the hard work of my dad. So I had a great example in my dad. I had a great example in my mom as far as like what hard work is, what integrity is, right? So it would be awesome to say like, yo, I had all these great examples, and then I followed that.
Right.
But my stupidity was fascinated with something else.
Well, maybe it's not stupidity though. Maybe
I was immature.
Maybe it's just you being. I mean, we could paint it up. Let's do what everybody else does. You can put a crutch to it or a reason that you did it. Maybe it was because you were young and impressionable and stupid, and you were not sure of where you were supposed to be in this world.
You know what I'm going to paint it as? I'm going to paint it in the way that it should be painted. As children, we are idiots. You are immature. You don't know what's best for you. We're impulsive. We have these urges, and as children, you could definitely fall victim, fall prey to your own impulses, not the impulses that are brought on by the surrounding. It's you. It's this brain. We're flawed. We're imperfect, and then as kids, that's what happens. Right. So just to like pivot to another idea, the idea that children nowadays can make decisions for themselves that would permanently alter their state, it's idiotic.
Right.
It's idiotic. As a child, I remember being impulsive. I worked with children for 22 years, and I saw these impulsivities daily. So, as a child, I was an impulsive.
You know, it's an example. You're my age, and you remember He-Man.
Oh yeah.
And you remember She-Ra.
Oh man.
And the Thundercats, and every single one of the shows that we watched as a kid, He-Man, Thundercats, G.I. Joe, GoBots, Transformers, all that shit, right? They all had a female character.
Oh yeah.
Now, what's to say that back then, if by a chance my mom walked by my room when I was playing with my toys, 3 different days in the week, and I happened to be playing with She-Ra more, or she thought I was playing more than the rest. You know, it would have been maybe a conversation, or maybe the fact that it's just a child playing with a toy that happens to be a female character, the weaker of the universe, by the way.
Right.
But, I mean She-Ra, not women, before we get lambasted for that. She-Ra was a weak character. Anyway, but it would have been a conversation, or my mom would have just let me play with the fucking toy and not book me an appointment to get my dick cut off because I'm playing with She-Ra.
Yeah. Anyway, should we dive into rabbit holes? I don't know.
We do it all the time.
Should we dive? Anyway, so we speak on humility, right? Humility is the idea that we're evolving creatures, right? We start off with these at this immature stage as children. We're immature. We don't know what's best for ourselves. We're impulsive. We see these things. We want it. We don't know whether it's good for us, but we want it anyways, and we go after it anyways. And that's what I did. So the street life, that whole gang banging thing, that's where I shot for a good a quick era in my life, right? You go in, you learn your lesson, and you come out. A lot of times, children go into situations, and there's very painstaking, life-altering moments. In the gangbanging world, you may go in and you die because you get shot. You find yourself in a situation where you're in enemy territory, you're unprepared, bam, you're dead. You get jumped. You find yourself outnumbered, bam, you jump. You walk. You God willingly walk away from that unscathed, bumps, bruises, scars. The idea now that children can walk into this thing and adults around them allow for these life-altering decisions to be made, whether it's a gender transition, a permanent gender transition, a permanent gender-altering, maybe they call it therapy nowadays with the drugs as opposed to the surgery. Idiotic. I don't understand it. We're talking now about the humility that we should be having in life, the humility that we don't know anything. We're over there, we're trying to discover, right? But the idea that your lack of humility allows for very permanent alterations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also too though, like it's now a culture of, like, I don't know if it's bending the knee or doing it just because you want to say you were part of it, or you're inclusive, or you're lying to yourself when you say that you're an acceptance of all people. Nobody on the face of this planet is accepting of all people, except one person. Who was that guy?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So, nobody, myself included, there are certain things that, will forever and a day get under my skin. And that means that I'm not accepting of that particular thing.
But because we're speaking on humility today,
Mm-hmm.
that could also mean that there's a lack of humility on your part.
Right.
Right.
100%.
Just so we make that clear. And
Just
this
to
is
make
why,
full circle, the tie is
right.
humility.
But it's to tie humility, and in all honesty, guys, this is the reason why we began to discuss humility, right?
Right.
Because Stephen, and I do it myself, we get angry with people who do things that we don't agree with.
Right.
Right. And when they do things that we don't agree with, often we experience this lack of humility, and then we just delve down these
And we judge.
straight paths of judgment, and we're like, you piece of shit,
Right. You're right.
you rat bastard, rest in shit. Anyway, so, and that's the reason why we began to discuss this, because oftentimes we discuss here on our podcast things that we are just absolutely through with, right?
Yeah.
We can go down the line of all the past shit, all this leftist crap and woke bullshit. But it all has to do with this lack of humility,
Yeah.
right? Because at some point within that, even though we believe that we have some of the truth within our thought process, we just lack the humility of thinking that, hey, we're flawed ourselves.
Yeah.
Who are we to make these judgments
Yeah.
on other flawed individuals?
Yeah.
So we're comparing our culture to theirs, and we're saying ours is better because you're practicing this flawed behavior that we've deemed flawed, we've deemed imperfect, we've deemed unacceptable, and we're elevating our own position above theirs,
Yeah.
and that's wrong. So, as Steve is saying, we're not accepting of just anybody and everyone, right? Because that's the human condition. That's
Outsiders are met with courteous hostility.
that's what happens, right? That's what we practice. That's what all humans. I don't care what they say. I don't care how what picture they paint for you. All human beings draw these lines wherever it's convenient for them,
Yep.
right? And as tolerant as these people out there claim to be, as soon as you say something that is in disagreement with their own beliefs, they're drawing that line and they're telling you
Right.
you're wrong.
Which is, we're not going to talk about it because
Right.
we beat the horse to death already.
Yeah.
But, what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And when somebody tells me that I have to think a certain way or have to understand this concept or have to do this or have to do that, and the minute I say, why do I have to? And they think that I'm being combative and aggressive and not inclusive, and they, like he just said, draw the line, and then, disassociates from you for whatever reason, that's not right. That's literally exactly what they're accusing me of doing by just asking a question as to why. But, you guys can get your own opinion on what I'm talking about, but it's, it's the woke shit. It's all this, open arms bullshit that it's only for the forefront. There might be a few people out there that really do believe everybody should just hold hands and sing Kumbaya, but for the most part, people are doing it because they either have to or that they think that if they don't, they're going to get canceled. It's a fear culture now. It's not even cancel culture. It's a fear culture. It happens in sports. It happens in movies, TV shows, podcasts, anything that can happen that somebody can cancel because they don't agree. I mean, we got kicked off. Essentially, one of our episodes got scrubbed off a certain Spotify because we were speaking our opinions on certain topics and they didn't like it.
Sure.
So, instead of having a conversation as to why we feel this way, and maybe coming to an understanding of why we feel this way, they feel their way, we feel our way, that's it. They just cut you off. They just cut you off at the knees. And I think that shows zero humility.
Absolutely. I mean, again, the human experience is a flawed one. So there, in no way are we going to be sharing the same opinions, sharing the same likes, dislikes. What I've come to realize that no matter how popular a thought is, no matter how popular a trend is, everyone is going to process it and then express it in their own ways. Right. So there might be some grand thought, and then as it funnels through the different individuals' brain and their expressions and their and their own cultures, it's going to come out very different.
It happens here on the podcast.
Yeah. So
The Rock, he thinks she's great.
I think
he's shit.
I think he has done a lot for my people and bringing attention to my people. Right.
He has.
Samoan.
That he has.
He's a Samoan, half black, half Samoan, and he's just brought a lot of attention to our people. And for that, I give the guy kudos. He's tried his best to delve into our culture, and again, so let's.
Although we did find out a little fact about Moana this weekend.
Well, yeah. Well, let's pivot.
He's full of shit.
No, it's not. It's not full of shit. Let's pivot into this little rock segment for a minute.
Let us.
So The Rock, during this, I want to say it was a period of about 1 or 2 years, he tried to delve into the culture itself. Meaning he tried to speak the language, he tried to show the love to the people, to the Samoan people, by expressing the culture much more on his part. And the reception that he got from our people because of the flaws that were made in his expression, right? He spoke a Samoan line in a movie, and he was so the language, it was so imperfect.
Bad.
It was bad. It was his Samoan was far from fluent.
What movie was it?
It was the one. It was the Fast Furious where they went to the island.
Oh, Fast and Furious 36.
Well, yeah, that one.
The one where he was holding a helicopter and a tow truck with a chain, yeah. And we're expected to believe he.
Anyway, that's my Uncle Rock. I love that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so so he tried to speak, and then his Samoan was so flawed. He got trashed by the Samoan people. Okay, so you've got this again. We share this trendy idea, and let's say the idea is the Samoans produce great people, and then you had one Samoan who has reached this fucking zenith. I mean, he's reached higher in the attention grabbing realm than any other Samoan, I would say, in the history of the planet. He has gained more eyeballs, more attention than any Samoan we know. In my eyes, he's done great things. He's a great dude. Get shit on. He's gotten shit on for this specific phrase that he speaks in this movie. And I thought, because in my mind, it did not matter that he didn't sound perfectly Samoan. It just, for me, he was a Samoan. He tried to bring eyes to our rock, to the Samoan islands, to the Samoan culture. In my eyes, I was like, yes, go. In the eyes of other Samoans, They didn't like it.
In the eyes of the Samoans, it was like if Jackie Chan were to say that same line in Samoan, right? I mean, it's disrespectful if you're not perfect. I'm just saying, right? I mean,
why are you going to compare him to such a non-Samoan?
I was giving. Well,
why are you comparing him to like?
My whole point was it might as well have been Vin Diesel saying that line, just because of the fact that it was if it was so bad, and you know what I mean. And I understand what you're saying. Like he's rose to levels that most people will never get to.
Most Samoans.
Most people in general.
Right. I mean,
I would say most people in Hollywood didn't have their rise like that.
The closest two Samoans that could say they've reached his popularity, his level of popularity, is probably Troy Polamalu and Junior Seau. Those are the two right behind The Rock that I could say, okay, they probably shared some of that, notoriety. No other outside of those three, I don't see.
But I'm saying nobody.
I don't see it close.
Nobody, no matter what race they are,
right,
has rose to the levels that he rose to at the pace that he did.
Right.
Because literally, I would say 30 days, he was a wrestler, and then he was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
I mean, but you can say all that hard work began in 1996 when he first stepped onto the scene in WWF.
Yeah.
You can say.
I'm not saying he's not a hard worker.
Road.
What I'm telling you is that in order to be what the people want, you have to give us a fucking break. Give us a break. Take a vacation. Go back to Epstein's Island. I don't know what to do. But the thing is that you take time away.
Those are glitching.
You can't be.
Now back to our regular schedule programming. I don't know what just happened.
You can't be in every single fucking movie there is. It's like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in a remake of the Titanic. Dwayne Johnson in a remake of Gone with the Wind. Like, bro, leave it the fuck alone.
Dwayne Johnson, the new Mary Poppins.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. Because he's everywhere.
Yeah.
And somewhere in that movie, Kevin Hart's going to be in it. I mean, they have like 90% of their filmography is with each other.
Yeah.
And it works, but they're everywhere. And he's I'm not saying he's not a good person. He's probably a really cool dude. He might be an asshole, who knows? But he has put in his time, he's worked hard, but he's fucking annoying, dude. He's fucking annoying.
Why is he so annoying?
Because he's fucking everywhere I look.
So
he's
on
does
fucking, not need to be seen that much.
No.
Okay.
Overexposed? You're everywhere. You're everywhere.
Okay, I think that's what it is.
You're in a cartoon movie where you're a dog's voice.
I think when people begin talking shit about you, I think that you may be overexposed.
Yeah, too much.
Yeah. I saw some shit recently about him making comments about backing Oprah or some shit.
Yeah.
And that being a thing. Anyway, I saw a quote, and the best way this quote was phrased, I'm not going to say that phrasing of the quote, but this quote is something like this. It's small minds talk about people, or small minds discuss people. Average minds discuss events, and great minds discuss ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the reason why most of our podcast episodes are the way they are, meaning we discuss these ideas like humility and things like that, is because we look to be great minds, right? I don't want to get caught up into being these small-minded people discussing individuals out there, right? But I look to bring kudos to people like The Rock, right? Because again, in my mind, in my eyes, he as someone who I can resonate with because I'm Samoan and he's Samoan, he's brought some mad attention. If Steven were to discuss Vicente Fernandez, I'd be like, yo, my nigga, right? He'd be like, yo, Chente, por tu maldito amor. I'd be like, yo.
Did you, just just literally no other Mexican celebrities or famous people came to you?
That's my guy, Chente, right? I mean, I could say Antonio Banderas, but look, I don't like Puss in Boots. Look, my nigga.
That's the thing, bro. Like, I don't see, like, I like people in movies or actors.
Should I have said Kid
movies.
Frost?
Yes.
If he brought Kid Frost up,
The NB writers. But I don't see it as like, oh, there's a Mexican dude playing whatever. I don't see it that way.
Could it be though? Because there are many more Mexican celebrities than there are Samoan celebrities. Could it be?
Maybe. But again, I don't understand how The Rock example only exposes himself as a Samoan. He's not just Samoan.
He's black when it's convenient.
Okay, you're only backing my point here.
I'm not. Look, I'm not saying he doesn't do flawed things.
Right, he's a flawed person. He's a human being. Like
he's a human being. We're all human beings.
And it's not the fact that there's every Mexican celebrity out there is a B-lister. Let's be for real.
What are you talking about?
Who? Who's one?
Well, I mean, you know what? There I go. Because you know the first person that came to mind, J-Lo, and she's what, Puerto Rican, Cuban? I don't know.
How dare you?
Yeah. Hey, sorry, guys. I mean,
how fucking dare you,
dude? You know what's funny is that's the flawed racist to me because I group all Latins up,
all Browns, all Browns, one
Jesus,
bag
Christians. You're like, yo, that would be saying like, you know, Ian Watongi is like my people. You know, hey, he's a Tongan. Great. Hey, congratulations, Ian, for winning the American Idol 2023.
Who the fuck is that?
Bro, you have got.
Oh, the singer guy.
The singer. Yeah. That guy you have got. If you're not listening to this man and bro, I'm not a crier, right? But when I heard his audition song, Monsters by James Blunt, bro.
Everybody's
crying.
Everybody's heard that video. Right.
I'm sure you guys have heard. Bro, I'm not a crier, but guess what? Man, my face is leaking. I'm a truck driving. I'm into the ports, bro, and I got that video playing and crying. I'm like, God.
And they're like, sir, you can't.
They're like, sir, what are you doing?
Like, sir,
the films. They're like the films.
Sir, this is the Port of Los Angeles.
They're like, bro,
you can't cry here.
Right, bro. Like, but that, you know, I guess grouping, you know, the Tongans and the Samoans up would be kind of the equivalent of
calling me a Puerto Rican.
Yeah. Puerto Rican.
You dirty Puerto Ricans.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, but you know, that's just human behavior. We see similar looking people, and we're like, yeah, you know, I you know, you said, oh yeah, name me a A-list celebrity Mexican. I'm like, Snooki. I don't know.
You know what?
I was like, Paulie D.
I was gonna lay off the rock. But you said Snooki's Mexican.
Oh shit! Hey, no. But that's just that, you know. That's the flaw in me, guys. Like, let me humbly.
So anybody
apologize.
Anybody short and brown apparently is a Mexican in this guy's eyes. This guy said Snooki.
Let me apologize, guys.
She's a fucking greaseball.
What the Jesus, we're getting canceled every which way today, buddy.
She's a greaseball.
She's from Jersey.
And to answer your question about, if there was a movie, I don't even know what it could be, that was starring the latest, greatest, newest Mexican actor.
Coco? Was that Mexican?
Yeah, but I don't give a shit.
I guess
I watched that movie because of the kids watched that movie, right?
Man.
And then you end up liking the movie.
Remember me.
But then I wasn't watching that movie thinking, oh man, somebody's finally bringing light to Dia de los Muertos. I wasn't like, oh, Disney finally did it for the... No, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit. Because either you do it, you have pride in your own way. You don't need a celebrity or a movie or a TV show to push you over the edge.
You know what? Great point.
Great
fucking point.
God damn.
You're right. I mean, you know, that's another point of humility, right? Each of us the idea that we need those like outside factors to validate our own existence.
Right.
You're right. You're absolutely right, and a lot of us do it. And I, I hope, I hope this kind of resonates with anyone who's listening, because at some point we have to come to the game, right? We have to come to this matrix with our own validities.
Yep.
We have to validate ourselves,
Right.
right? Through means that truly allow us to discover who we are.
So back to this whole actor shit. The strike is on, right, for the Screen Actors Guild or whatever.
Yeah. The writers.
The writers and then certain celebrities. It hasn't affected my life one fucking bit that they're on strike.
Okay.
Not one bit, right? Not one single iota has my life been affected by celebrities not being able to make movies.
Okay.
The one thing I will say is that I did read something where The Rock, I guess, gave the largest donation to the SAG program or whatever, gave them a 7-figure donation to keep the writers and, be able to pay their bills, which is cool. Pretty cool of them to do that. Didn't have to, obviously. But it's just another point that we put celebrities up on these pedestals, right? For whatever reason. Whether they bring light to the culture there's no light on, or that they're the newest, biggest, baddest thing, or she's the hottest girl, whatever. And for what? Like, what substance does that person bring to your life?
I mean, yeah, you're right.
And it's
but
just,
again, I mean, don't you see though? Don't you see that, this flawed human existence? It pulls in that direction. It pulls in the direction that a flawed human being does long for the validation, right, from these outside factors. That's why we go and put on the clothing that we put on, right? Because we a lot, especially with people who are fashion trendy, right? They go and they get these name brands and they put it on. They're like, look, I got Yeezys on.
Yeah.
Look, I got the brand new Versace, right? Or I've got the new bag. It's whatever the fuck it is, right?
Fendi.
Dolce & Gabbana, right? Whatever.
Gooch.
Whatever the Gooch, right? I mean, so it's all of this validation that comes from these external factors, right? And instead of understanding that there needs to be some sense of humility in you to understand that what you're doing is absolute stupidity.
Right.
We're being absolute. So if I were to practice that, it's stupidity in me. But we lack the humility to understand that.
Mm-hmm.
We follow these waves of these trendy waves to the point where we totally miss these benchmark understandings about ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? To say, hey, wow, look at me. I'm the sheep. I'm the sheep right now. And I'm going to grab that Bugatti because I'm a sheep.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because in order to validate my status as a man, I'm gonna get the Bugatti.
Right.
Right.
I have like Nike shit or whatever, but I never go out and get like, I don't see a commercial or a release for like, example, like the new LeBrons or something, right? Never fucking see me in line waiting for shoes. You'll never see me in line waiting for shit, really.
But does that downplay the idea that you're not wearing Pro Wings? Why aren't you wearing Pro Wings?
I don't know what the fuck that is.
Or why aren't you wearing the XJ 2000s?
I had XJ 2000s.
Or why aren't you wearing the new Skechers?
Because I don't fucking. First of all, they look like I feel like if I put on Skechers, I would instantly age 10 years.
Exactly.
So
you're lacking the humility in yourself that says,
no, they don't match any. I don't fucking want to have Skechers. The fuck you talking about? The humility that says they don't match anything I fucking wear. You understand?
Because you want to look like a 1990s cholo from fucking the South Side.
Yep.
You're a Sureño.
Look who's talking. I'm just saying that most of the clothes I have, there's nothing in my closet above a Nike baseball jersey. There's nothing. My suits that I have are from fucking like, I don't know, 3-Day Suit Broker. I don't know what the fucking name of my suit is. I don't care about the, like, walk around saying, check out the new swoosh they designed. I don't give a fuck about that. My main goal is, does it match with the things I wear?
Okay.
So it could be Skechers, it could be XJ2000s, it could be the Pro Wings. I don't give a shit. If they match, I'm wearing them.
Well, I'm gonna buy you a pair of Pro Wings then.
I'm gonna buy you a pair of fucking Hokas or whatever the fuck they are.
Hey, those are
I'm
comfortable.
gonna make sure
You
they're.
give me a pair of Hokas, bro.
I'm gonna make sure.
Man,
I'm gonna make sure.
I'm gonna give you a big ass hug.
I'm gonna make sure they're the Miami Dolphins colors. But you're still gonna fucking get it since you don't care about how they look.
I don't care. I wear flip flops to the restaurant, dog. I give up. But
I couldn't. I would need to own a Miami Dolphins jersey in order to ever wear those shoes. You understand? I cannot leave without matching.
Jesus Christ, you.
My boxers are black because I'm wearing black. I can't not fucking do it.
I don't even want to check, bro. This mother sucker. Jesus Christ.
Just saying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anyway, humility is what we still look to kind of not only speak on it in today's episode of the podcast, but I really hope that we learn from what it is we're saying, and that we personify.
I hope you're humble enough to know that when I buy you the Hokas, they're going to be the Green Bay Packers colors. How about that?
You know what? And then I'm gonna totally have to, wear that when I'm dead. It's funny. Like I said, we just buried, the OG. He was a adamant Green Bay fan. Didn't see a Green Bay game in Lambeau Field till about 2 or 3 years ago, 3-4 years ago maybe. But lifetime Green Bay Packer fan. So when I dedicate a day to thinking about my guy, I rock those.
One day a year.
One day a year, maybe even 2 days, right? 2 days a year. But yeah, Green Bay. Hey, my man was just. They called him G for a reason.
So
G.
lifelong fan, never jumped the wagon for his team being shit.
Never jumped the wagon for his team doing shit like myself. I jumped the wagon. I was a Panther fan. They made a move I couldn't agree with, so my loyalties to them just kind of wavered, and that just how much loyalty did I actually have to that team after 22 years? I guess you can say that I was definitely disloyal, and so in my humility, it's a reflection of my own flaw.
Yeah. And then you conveniently forget the fact that you wanted to be a Rams fan because they were in the fucking Super Bowl.
I was thinking, I definitely was. Not only because they were in the Super Bowl, I thought, Matthew Stafford, their acquisition of Matthew Stafford, and then they have the number one receiver.
Who?
You gonna tell me white boy is not the number one receiver?
Cooper broke.
Cooper Kupp
Cooper
is
hurt.
Okay, but my man he's a sick ass receiver, bro.
He is a good receiver 8 games out of the year. But the issue is, I'm glad you didn't pick the Rams because they're not going to be in the playoffs for a long time.
Yeah, they're not. I'm glad. Look. I went with my loyalty because my loyalty is to my city, and my city hosted.
Don't mind the gritty.
My city hosted Chargers, so that's what I went with.
The Chargers did play in StubHub.
They did,
and I think
for a few games,
a few years.
No, it was only like one season.
It was 1.5.
1.5 until.
And then they realized, oh shit! Everybody who's watching us play is coming to see the other team.
Yeah.
So.
They're
like, damn! I didn't know there's that many Steelers fans in Southern California.
There's a shitload of Steelers. God damn it! I know a ton of them.
It's because they're good, and they're winners.
All right, says this.
Chargers are not.
Says this Kansas City fan, very new to winning.
Hey, but I'm very loyal.
Very new to winning.
Since '96.
Very new to winning, though. Anyway, What I will say though is we're teaching each other things, right? He's showing me how where my lack of humility sometimes stands, and vice versa. You talk about a lack of humility. As angry as my man gets with everyone around him, for whatever reason, that's a lack of humility. And then not to talk about how he will hand over his power to other people because they make him so angry, right? Anytime you are quick to anger at what someone else is doing, that just means you've just handed over the reins. You're like, oh, press my buttons.
You know when
I will
angry?
dance for you.
You know when I was angry last?
Yeah.
Like really angry? When I bet on the Chargers to win in the playoffs. And they got
low blow.
And they
this bastard
and
is
then
a
here
low
comes
blow.
Jacksonville.
Jesus Christ.
27-0.
We've heard it.
Oh.
This is like the fourth time he's pointing that out to me today.
Well, because you were talking shit in the parking
Well,
lot.
complete strangers. I was interested. I was talking to complete strangers, and then he just, has to, roll the bus over.
You told him.
I was already down. I threw myself under the bus.
You told you're a Chargers fan.
Rolling
And
back
then
and forth.
the one dude
It's
said,
whoa,
what happened last year?
27-0.
And nobody was answering, so I was like, Jacksonville happened last year. The city of Jacksonville came to SoFi.
I answered. I said we put all our money in terrible backfield. Austin Eckler.
They came to SoFi and ran that Jacksonville train right up the Chargers' ass.
Thank you for the reminder. Number 5 today.
I'm just making sure you forget.
Well, see, I'm a lot quicker to put on my humble hat, and I've put on that humble hat a few times today. Every day I wear my humble hat, because Jesus Christ taught us the importance of humility, right? Because with that humility, with the practice of it, your message, it penetrates a lot more. It resonates. So with that, I hope I hope whatever it is we're saying resonates with you, because I will carry all the humility that this duo needs in order to, feed you the message.
Well, definitely in the sports world, you're carrying the humble pie.
Well, sisters of perpetual pleasure. Hey, to all you sisters of perpetual pleasure.
What do the Chargers Super Bowl rings look like? They look like this. Nothing.
Hey.
That's what they look like.
Guys, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. And we are happy to bring you our message of truth. And with that, and his lack of humility,
Be gone.